Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Excellent jam, Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do dede. Luta munulo jel moto nga andil mahalis. Hello?
Busel mo fine.
What?
Busel mo fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills, and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave, Busel mo fine. Wave, your money is yours.
On Monday, the 11th of August 2025, you're with Coffee Time on West Coast Radio. And for the next hour and a half, we're going to be talking about tax collection. Taxes are a key source of revenue for governments and are levied on income, goods and services, property, and various other financial transactions. Tax collection ensures that the government has the necessary funds to provide essential services such as education, healthcare, defense, and public infrastructure. Governments at the national, regional, and local levels may all be involved in collecting different types of taxes, each with their own rates, procedures, and enforcement mechanisms. We're joined now by the Commissioner General of the Gambia Revenue Authority, Mr. Yanku Badabo, and his close aide, Deputy Commissioner General, Mr. Essa Jallo. The GRA is a merger of the defunct Customs and Excise Department and the Income Tax Department. So the CG is of a customs background, while the DCG is an expert in income tax. So CG, welcome back to Coffee Time with Peter Gomez.
Thank you very much, Brother Peter. We are always happy to be here.
Fantastic. And thank you very much for bringing company. Somebody, I am sure, if you hadn't held by the hand to guide to the studio, he'll probably go to Manjai believing that we are still in Manjai. Essa, welcome to West Coast Radio for the first time, I suppose.
Thank you, Peter, and I'm happy to be on this Coffee Time program, your popular program. I hope we are going to have a very engaging
We will have a very engaging one. I know why you thought you had been in the studio before. The last time we thought, you remember, was when we were talking about these boat owners and canoe owners in NBR. But that was on the telephone. And you that was on the telephone. All right, CG, first things first.
Thank you.
Yeah, we are into another quarter. How did we perform in the last one?
Thank you once again, Peter, for inviting us to be here to give an update of what we are doing. Like I always said, it is good sometimes for us to come over and tell our own story, because if we don't do, other people will tell our stories. So it is important that we are here. And I remember we were here last quarter. We gave an update, and today we are here. So I'm going to give you the update for the revenue collection, which is our core mandate of GRA. In the month of April, the target that was given to GRA was slightly above 2 billion. But by the end of the month, we collected over 2.4 billion.
Oh, wow.
With an increase of 401 million. And in May, we were given a target of 1.7 billion. And by the end of the month, we collect over 2 billion. We have also a variance of over 2 billion, 275 million. And in June, we are given a target of over 1.6 billion. And by the end of the month, we collect over 1.9 billion, and with an excess of over 250 million. And finally, in July, we were given a target of over 2 billion again. But by the end of the month, we collect slightly above 2.5 billion, almost 2.6 billion. We have an excess collections of over 522 million. So this is the activity for the last quarter. But if you look at the January collection to end July, the target that is set is 13.5 billion. But at the end of the day, we collected over 15.6 billion.
Oh, wow.
So giving us an excess collection of 2.1 billion on top of the target that is set from January to end July. If you look at the overall target for the year, is about 23 billion. We are talking billions, not millions. 23 billion.
Gambia doesn't talk millions anymore.
Yeah,
we talk billions.
Exactly. And you realize that, we've collected over 15.6 billion. So we are left, August to December, we are supposed to collect 7.3 billion. Now, if you divide that by 5 months, you are talking of collection of about 1.4 billion, which certainly our average collection now is in billions. Yeah. 2 billion every month. Yeah. So when we look at it, we have realized that this should be 1.4 billion, which we think that we should be able to get our target for the year.
That's good news.
Maybe I should quickly add something to this.
Sure.
These billions are not coming just out of the blues. These billions are coming simply because we are engaged in a lot of reforms, digitalization. And that is my common phrase. Whenever I talk, I emphasize more on digitalization. We are able to get these billions because constantly we are working on bringing new reforms to the country. And these reforms, what they do, they block leakages and bring accountability and transparency in the work we do. And we try to make human intervention lesser. So we bring the digital stage. And that is why we are able to get all these billions. Now, you remember the Asikuda wall?
Yes.
Which is a real great platform that we're using and is doing a great work. We have, in addition, a single window platform, which is also doing a fantastic work. In addition to that, we have what we call e-tracking, that is all for transit of cargoes coming into the Gambia and going out of the Gambia, going to the warehouses, as well as at the fuel depot, the fuel that used to be diverted into the country when they are supposed to go for transit. Now that is a thing of the past.
How did they divert?
Peter, smuggling has been here before we were born.
True. And
smuggling will be here even if we go. So what normally happens when goods are supposed to go on transit to either Mali or Guinea-Bissau or Conakry or either of these countries, they will load them, maybe 60 trucks or 50 trucks or 30 trucks, depending on the quantity. And those days they will provide human escort. Imagine one person supposed to escort 30 trucks, and they are all driving towards Basse. So what normally happens, some of those importers will walk out with their agents. Some of the trucks, instead of going straight to the border, they divert to other places, and which we have discovered many times, and we've dealt with them. Not only paying the duty, but we also impose penalties on them. And this was why we thought that it's important to bring a system that will make us completely out of that kind of situation. And that's why we have the e-tracking. Now, each tanker is tagged with a track, and a tracker is controlled by the satellite. And we have 2 independent offices, one in Serekunda, one in Banjul, and people are there 24/7. If you attempt to divert, the tracker will alert. And then we have a reinforced force, a mobile brigade force that is standing, and they will have to go after you. So now, diversion is a thing of the past.
Okay.
So that's what the e-tracking is doing. But in addition to that, we also have the way bridge that is at the port, and that was not there before. And that is now dealing with bulk cargoes. Here, when we said bulk cargo, rice, sugar, flour, cement, etc. These cargoes, the charges are based on the weight. So imagine Peter Gomez has a consignment of 25,000 metric tons of sugar. And you declare on your paper it is 15,000 metric tons. It is difficult for us to know exactly what you have. But now with the weight bridge, each truck has to pass through the weight bridge, and the weight is immediately it takes the weight, is sent to the server.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, the actual weights are shown.
So they are charged per ton.
Yes, per ton, exactly. So if you get the correct tonnage, then you got the the real charges. And you remember the digital tax stamp too.
Yes. Very controversial at the
Very
at the
controversial.
start.
You know, Peter, each of these tax types or reforms, when we bring them, are always controversial. We are not surprised because people are benefiting out of the weakness of the system. Where you have the manual ways of doing things, there's always a weakness and leakage. So the only solution is digitalization. And when you bring digitalizations, the resistance is built. No, it cannot work. This cannot work in the Gambia. But the simple answer I always give is, if it works to other countries, why not Gambia? Not even in Europe or America, in Africa here. Because each of these tax types, reforms we bring, we always see it in other countries and we bring them on. And we have seen a lot of benefits in them. And so the tax stamp has really helped us in terms of minimizing smuggling, beside even the tax that we normally get out of it. But it also minimizes smuggling. I'll give you a good example. Gambia is porous when it comes to our borders. We have specific areas where we have our offices. But people can get into the country in terms of smuggling. And a lot of alcohol was coming into this country without tax, either from Guinea-Bissau or from Senegal, using Senegal as a third country or transit point. How do we identify those items, alcohol among others, that are not paying duty? It was difficult. You cannot just go to a supermarket, see they have new stock or this, you said you don't pay duty. You have to have evidence. And now, the evidence is the tax stamp. The tax stamp, if we go to any store, we go to any supermarket, anywhere, and you have these products that are excisable, and there is no tax stamp on them, obviously the mobile brigade will close that shop. We will take those goods, check your store, and even close the store.
Oh, so you have that? You have that power.
We have that power to close that one because it's considered as smuggling. You are having smuggled items in that shop, so we have the power to close that, and a severe penalty will be charged on you, and you might even ban to do certain works with us. So the tax stamp has reduced that almost 95%. We are not 100% because you can't say 100%, but we have reduced smuggling of excisable goods greatly. And in doing that, we are getting a lot of revenue from these excise taxes. When I came, before I came in, I just looked at the statistics. Last year, January to end July, we collected almost 258 million on excise. But at the end of the day, when we look at the July figures, it was over 631 million. So you have a difference of over 372 million only on excise. So you see, these reforms are the ones that are increasing these taxes, that billions that we are saying. They are not coming out of ordinary. You have the fuel marking as well. We discussed the fuel marking last time I was here. Interestingly enough, beside the transit of the fuel that used to be dropped, we also used to have people who are engaged in bringing fuel, not through the normal channel, not the depot or overland, but they try to smuggle either through Tangier or through Wafinjago or through Banjul, through Kerewan. We got people who...
So you know all the
we
smuggling
know all
points.
the smuggle areas. There are people who converted their fishing trawlers to fuel tankers. Can you imagine?
Oh, wow.
And they will be coming around 3-4 a.m. to supply some people and then go back to the sea and stand there. When it's finished, they go back and get fuel. So at the end of the day, it was not fair for the OMCs that we are in the those that pay their duties, and you smuggle and bring and you compete with them in the same market. So that was what dictated us to have the fuel marking. When we got the fuel marking in-house, It was sometime September last year. That thing become the thing of the past. And on average, before the fuel marking, you would not believe it, Peter, we used to collect every month between 250 million to 300 million. But when we brought this, today I am happy to tell you that on average, we collect over 500 million only from the fuel depot.
More than twice what you were getting
This
before.
is what I'm saying. So you see the importance of these reforms, what they can bring. They help us to increase this revenue. Let me just quickly say something. You remember there was a few years ago, about 2-3 years ago, before we come up with all these reforms, GRA was able to collect 800 million in a particular month. It was a nationwide celebration.
True.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic, Adama Barrow, brought that to the Parliament in one of the states opening of the Parliament. And it was, everybody was surprised that GRA was able to collect over 800 million. Now, compare that to today.
Today, if you declare only 800 million, you'll be sent to mile 2.
They will come for me. They will come for me. Undoubtedly, they will come for me, Peter. So these are the advantages. You remember the scanning system that we had at the port was also a state-of-the-art scanning system. It detects under declaration, misdescriptions, as well as illegal things that are supposed to come to this country, because it's so transparent that anything container that goes through it, the scanning can check it and see exactly if there are misdescription. Generally, payment is not easy, of tax is not easy. Whatever we do, people will try to come with another way to beat us. So ordinarily, if we don't have the scanning at the port, we will find it very difficult to get exact amount or descriptions of cargoes that are coming, and more especially for security reasons. Arms and ammunition can come into this country because the ports, 80% of what we are collecting comes from the port, the goods. So that place, it is very important that we have state-of-the-art scanning system, and it's doing a great job. We are on the process of the ITAX. The ITAX, the Integrated Tax Administrative System. We started the process, and this ITAX is funded by the World Bank. We started it some time back, but then when COVID came, we had to stop. And after 2 years, we came back. We did the process. There was a company that we were working on, but at one point, the company got bankrupt.
Ooh.
It's a Canadian company, Sojima. Then, during the bidding, there is always first, second, and third. So what we did as a team, including Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, we quickly stepped on the second best bidder, which is the Arab Soft, based in Tunisia. So right now we are working with them, and that's going to serve as a platform for our domestic tax revenue collection, so that at the end of the day, we'll have all the e-services, e-payment, e-filing, even e-reform. And we are working very hard to make sure that we will have it in segments, not waiting for the full system to be in place, but the first modules that are ready, we'll deploy them, and then we proceed. Recently, we also signed another contract to implement VAT electronic receipt. The last time I discussed about the VAT revenue. VAT is a tax type that we are collecting, but we feel like we are not getting its potential because there is something missing. It's what we call money in trust. When people come here, Peter, if you are a VAT registrant, you collect money on behalf of GRA. It's not your money. You are supposed to pay this money back to GRA at the end of the month. But what we are realizing is a lot of people are collecting this money, but when it comes to payment, that's always a problem. So we thought that by bringing electronic receipting, that will bring transparency and accountability. And always, each of these reforms that I've said, when it's coming, I'm pretty sure we'll have resistance. But we will never give up.
Okay.
We never give up. I find that before I finish the reforms, that's what we call revenue assurance.
Okay. Let me just clarify. Is e-receipting the same as e-invoicing? Because there was a time when we were talking about e-invoicing.
It's different.
Okay.
E-receipting.
Because e-invoicing is yet to come.
Yeah, that's yet to come.
Okay.
That's yet to come. And
Okay.
that is linked with the iTax.
Okay. Okay.
That's a platform of itself.
Okay.
Where taxpayers like you can sit in your office and do your filing and do your payment without any human interference.
Okay.
Different from the VAT electronic receipt.
Okay.
You only have that if you are a VAT registrant. And it becomes transparent because we know your activities, what you are doing.
Okay.
And in addition to all this, Peter, we have what we call revenue assurance system, which we are working on, and that is going to be on the GSM companies.
Oh.
Right now, what is happening is the GSM companies are paying a lot of money to us. But we want to bring more transparency and accountability in the revenue collection. By doing that, it's not GSM that comes in and says, this is what I have for the end of the month and pay. We want to know what you are paying, how much money, how does that money comes, so that we can have every butut that owes to GRA or to the government. And we cannot do that without the revenue assurance. So the revenue assurance, when it comes, it will be controlled by PURA, who are the regulators of the GSM companies. But GRA will be given a window where every tax that you pay on VAT, on your data, on your calls, every excise that you pay on your data and your phone, it will be calculated, shown and calculated on a daily basis, so that at the end of the day, we don't have to go to the GSM companies and say, you have to pay 100 million, you have to pay 50 million. No, we'll just sit down and get our own invoice and say, this is what you are supposed to pay in a month. There's no argument because this is system driven, it's digitalized. So it's as easy as that. And that's not going to affect their revenue in terms of what they should have, because everything is calculated and it's machine driven and everything's going to be transparent. Okay. That's another system that we are bringing. And it's going to show up even the turnover of what is happening in actual fact. So, all these things we are bringing is going to help the government. It's going to help GRA.
Businesses don't like others knowing their turnover.
Businesses would not like. And it always brings a lot of resistance.
Yes.
But I will come to that. The final one on the, reforms that is on the process is rental income system. And we have this tax line also. There are a lot of people who have properties in the country, in prime areas, but they are hiding. They are not coming forward. So we thought we should bring a system that will identify these prime areas, the location, the owners, so that we'll have Peter Gomez. I always use you as an example.
Yeah, it's all right.
We have Peter Gomez place here.
I won't go to court.
If you come, we have a file for you. You pay for one property. With this system, it can check, particularly within the greater Banjul area, because that's the prime area. Can check where else Peter Gomez have a property and he's not declared it. The system will bring that out. And now if you come to pay, we'll tell you, but who owns that property at that place? Senegambia at that corner. Who has the property at Kairab? Is it not you, Peter Gomez? So we have even started the program, because they are building it, but when they call some people who are declaring 1 or 2, they realize they have maybe more 4 or 5. Most of them will accept, yes, I did. So what we do, instead of backdating it, no, we said from now, you have to pay. How much is rent? You tell us your rent. We are not imposing rent amounts on people, but rather we are allowing you to declare what you are receiving from your tenant.
What if they give you, a fake figure?
If they give us a fake, we will know eventually, because you are not the only one who has a property around that area. Remember, if we talk about Kairaba Avenue, on average, we know how much rent is there, because we have other people that are declared. Some people cannot declare $6,000 per year for a shop, and then you come and tell us that it's $2,000. We know that it's not true. So we'll have to agree with you to a point and then bring sense to you that this is what we have. And that's the, compare values. Because whatever we are doing, we always have values. And we always compare and contrast.
So is rent, along the Kairaba Avenue denominated in dollars instead of
Most of the time, the shopkeepers, they put them in dollars. So when you said you receive it in dollar, we'll just do the conversion because you cannot pay us in dollar. We just do the conversion and then whatever dollars it brings, we take that. Okay. But what I wanted to say quickly, Peter, about all this development, we are able to do it because we have the political will. Peter, without the political support, we cannot even get close to $1 billion. Remember, Gambia was here before, and trade was very vibrant. As a young officer, I grew, I saw how trade was and everything was, but we never get close to these kind of figures. They are coming now simply because we have the support of the government, from the president to the entire government, and that is the political will. Any of these reforms that we want to bring, we discuss it as a team, as government, and we will show them the examples, the advantages and disadvantages. At the end of the day, once they give us the support, we go in. It does not matter the resistance. So we are in everything we are doing in totality with the government. You come to the other areas, for example, the Minister of Finance. They are fully involved in what we are doing. Some time back, there was a new directorate called Tax and Revenue, headed by a young gentleman called Alaji Jallo. This unit is helping also us in terms of policy directives. Remember, GRA is an operational institution. There are certain policy things, directives that we cannot really go in for. So the Directorate of Tax and Revenue under the Ministry of Finance, headed by Alaji Jallo, it's helping us a lot in terms of broadening the tax base. Right now, they are responsible with other institutions like GRA for the duty waivers. Duty waivers are areas that if it is not carefully screened, you can have leakages there because everybody wants to apply for a waiver. But now, only those that are qualified are given the waiver. If you are not qualified and certain questions or things will be asked, you'll be asked to bring in certain information, including your updated withholding tax, your tax clearance. All these things, if you don't bring it, then you will not be qualified. And if you are not qualified, the next thing is you have your goods at the port, you have to come and pay. So that's also helping. That department is helping us greatly.
And it all goes to confirm the political will being there.
It all goes to confirm the political will there. And in addition to that, they are also helping us the withholding taxes that different other institutions are doing and government ministries. We can deal with private sector with full force. But when it comes to government ministries, we have to rely on this directorate to help us to make sure that they do what they are supposed to do. So this directorate is helping us a lot in terms of the withholding taxes that various ministries are collecting. They are remitted to GRA, as well as even the diplomatic sides. We are not allowed to go to where the diplomats are due to the diplomatic reasons. So we have to go through this directorate, who has to also get to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and then they will get to the diplomats. Because most of these diplomats pay their rents in dollars, and they are supposed to pay those withheld the rental tax that is there, which is a lot of money, because some of them they charge a high amount. So the withholding tax is so is this directorate that help us with that. Okay. So this is all this combined together, and that is why we are getting all these billions that we are getting.
Fantastic.